Welcome back, and now let's get into the program in earnest. Social problems exist in any type of community. They're solved easily where people understand their social responsibility and live up to the standard. Hunger and poverty in Nigeria have become a major problem, and many say that this is the result of the current economic hardship. So people are being pushed to the edge by excessive stress. To look at this problem with us this morning, it's my pleasure to welcome, sitting with us in the studio in Lagos, a consultant psychiatrist at the Neuropsychiatric Hospital, Aro, Abeokuta, Dr. Tunde Ojo. Good morning.
Oh, thank you. Good morning.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And joining us from Abuja, we have a mental health specialist, Dr. Ubong Etudo. Good morning.
Good morning.
As well as Dr. Smart Machongo, Nigeria Suicide Prevention Initiative. Good morning and welcome to Sunrise.
Good morning. Good morning.
Thank you for joining us. Now, we're told that suicide is the second leading cause of death among 15 to 44-year-olds. Around 20% of the world's children and adolescents are estimated to have mental disorders or problems. Most low and middle-income countries have only one child psychiatrist to every 1 to 4 million people. This is statistic coming from the World Health Organization. Now, Dr. Ojo, let me start from our studio in Lagos. Dr. Ojo, in the last, before I ask you this question, we'll take a quick break, come back, and our guests will take us through this. Welcome back. We're looking at coping with societal challenges. Now, Dr. Ojo, what is it that drives a human being? Remember, we always say that life is good. That drives a human being. I don't want to live anymore. I will take my own life.
That's a very big question, and I think we are speaking to suicide. Why somebody will want to take his life, you know. And a lot of different school of thought has talked about what actually leads to suicide. Is it about the society? Is it about the person? Mm-hmm. But while I would not want to go into much of science, but I think it's about society and the person. But first, to start with, like you rightly said about the sanctity of life. Life is so precious, and why would somebody wants to take his life? But people have talked about different meaning to life and why people will want to take their life. But it depends on the state of mind of that person at the point in time that wants to, he or she wants to take a life. Mm-hmm. And so one of the commonest cause of risk factor associated with suicide is an existing mental illness, you know, and somebody that has a mental illness at that point in time may not be in the right frame of mind, mm-hmm. even to make. So is an irrational decision that becomes rational to that mind, you know. So somebody that is having a lot of financial difficulties, and so it sees it as a getaway mechanism, or somebody so it had all these challenges, overburdened, is not able to express it to people, and he said, oh, I need to get away from this. Or in another perspective, are saying life, that there is a life after that is better than this one, so let me just live this ugly life and then transcend to a higher life, a higher form of life. So if you are talking about the cause of suicide, mm-hmm. it depends on how the society looks at it, and at that point in time, how the person sees it. like the woman, like the woman that had what's it called? The woman at the Third Mainland Bridge, just 2 days ago, that wanted to commit suicide. So this woman, in debt to a tune of about 18 million. The other person, the second person, just 150,000. But so somebody got to the level of 18 million, somebody 150,000 wanted to commit, take her life. And he said, I need to get away from this. Oh, my children can actually live a good life after I've gone. So she's saying it like, oh, one, I'm getting away from this shame. He has trusted people for 15 years, and he said, when I leave, my children can always have something to fall back to. So this is a getaway for me, and this is an ultimate sacrifice that I can pay for my children that are coming behind me.
So what you're saying is that each person has a different threshold.
Threshold, we talk about resilience. Resilience, if you talk about threshold, resilience, let me just put it in a lay form. If it takes 3 punches to get him down, it may take 10 punches to get you down, and maybe 15.
150,000.
So if you just get 2 punches and they get off the ground, it is, and then you may get 8 and you're still standing. So everybody has a price. Everybody's mind has a price. And so we talk about the issue of resilience. Human resilience. What will bring you down may not bring me down. And so when we're talking about this issue of stress vulnerability, stress vulnerability diastasis, that an interplay of psychosocial factors and the biological factors that somebody has.
Okay. Doctor, let me take this to Dr. Etudo. Dr. Etudo, he has talked about a state of mind of the individual at the point of making that decision. What could lead to that state of mind? Some have described it as depression. A lot of things can build up to that point where someone says he's depressed. For some, it might just be one thing. He's talked about threshold. But let's take us through this issue, things that get a human being to say, it's time to go.
Okay, thank you very much for that wonderful question. Well, as Dr. Joad rightly said, everybody has different threshold to the kind of stress he can accommodate. We all have different defense mechanisms or coping strategies, as you might put it. Now, what happens is this. Depending on the mental state at that point in time, people would have been undergoing different problems. Now, when we're talking of stress, we're talking of problems, basically. We're talking of financial problems, we're talking of emotional problems, we're talking of economic problems, for students, academic problems, we're talking of legal problems. Everybody is indebted to or owing somebody EFCC. So everybody has different problems at every point in time. Now, what happens is this. The brain has some form of way it's used to absorb or help to cope with stress. Now, for people like this that go into depression, as we may put it, the neurotransmitters, let me say chemicals in the brain that are responsible for this. I will call them neurotransmitters, but to the layman, let's just call it chemicals, serotonin. Now, when there's a reduction in these chemicals in the brain, we are not able to cope. We find out that people that conditions that will naturally help will be able to withstand normally, you now realize that you start to have low mood throughout the day for no reason, then no energy to stand up, you just feel like you don't want to get out of bed, it's difficult to get out of bed, then you lose interest in previously pleasurable activities. So when you start to find things like that has been going on for some time, then you now realize maybe you don't want to eat, you have problems with sleep, you start having worrying thoughts, you're being pessimistic, your self-esteem is reduced, your libido goes down, you tend to have feelings of hopelessness and worthlessness. Now, at some point, when you realize that you cannot even cope, you cannot function at home, at work, or in the society, you now get to the stage where you're now wondering, wow, could I just end it here? Now, as Dr. Ojo has already said, there are different types of suicide depending on the way you want to look at it. Be it the egoistic, the altruistic, the fatalistic, or the anomic suicide, depending on which one. the main thing is that the person now is seeing it like a getaway. Oh, let me die so that other people will enjoy, or let me die and kill myself, or let me, that they see it as a getaway from the problems that they are facing. So you find out that at that point in time, their judgment is so impaired that to them, that is the right move. That the right thing for them to do is to kill themselves. So, and we're saying suicide, not deliberate self-harm, because there are some people that will try to injure themselves in this, saying, oh, because they want to get one thing or the other. Now, for suicide, the intention is to kill themselves because of one reason or the other. And everybody goes through this. The problem that we have in Nigeria many times is that we think it's spiritual. And I think that we should try to see that, because there's hope, there are people that can actually help you or help people get out of it, if only they can speak out when the time comes.